Welcome to PL. And I'm delighted to say we're going to be joined by Alison McConnell. She's been out there at the Rangers Training Centre, and the big news is, of course, the possibility of a group of investors taking over Rangers Football Club. This, of course, is a franchise also involved in the NFL with the San Francisco 49ers. So, Alison, you can understand the excitement around Ibrox among the supporters. Was the Rangers manager commenting on all this speculation today?
Absolutely not. Philippe was very tight-lipped on it, as I think you would probably expect. He likened it, he said it was akin to a story linking him with a player, that he wouldn't really expand or say anything on it until it was finalised and you know, I's dotted and T's crossed. However, he did say at the minute for him, it changed nothing. It didn't change anything about his perspective, about his day-to-day job, and his focus very much is on the here and now and simply on preparing this Rangers team for St Mirren. Of course, tomorrow afternoon's game at Ibrox is the first time that the squad will be back playing in front of their own support since that Scottish Cup exit to Queen's Park a fortnight ago. He said his focus is simply all on that. He didn't want to be drawn on it. He was a couple of questions, as you would expect. Journalists, of course, pushing to get some kind of insight, to get some kind of reaction, and a few times just the PR officer had to step in just to say we won't be expanding any further than what the club statement that came out on Wednesday offered. We won't be drawn and going into any more depth at the minute on it.
That's the talk about the possible investment. Before we talk about Fenerbahce, from our own point of view, sources tell me that they would be very surprised if this deal did not go through. So there's a real genuine feeling now that this deal is not only imminent, but very close to being finalised.
Yeah, I think so. I think since news broke on Wednesday evening, I think that seems to be the received wisdom, that it's very close to completion. I think, understandably, it would cause a lot of excitement among Ranger supporters. I think it just offers possibly the chance to go and clear debt, the opportunity to maybe invest in the club in a way that they have not been able to do so across recent years. And of course, what it all ultimately leads to is this investment that will lead to being able to go and challenge Celtic for a title? Does it reap the kind of money coming into the club that means you can go out, bring in a different calibre of player, and then go and challenge again for silverware, for titles, for cups, and do so on a regular basis? Are we going to then see a Rangers team that are capable of going toe-to-toe with Celtic in a way they just really haven't across the last decade or so? That remains to be seen, Peter. I think at the minute we don't quite know what the ramifications of the investment would be, but certainly what you can say is the deal that we've heard about this week certainly looks as though it's edging its way to completion.
And of course, there's no doubt about the attraction for the investors if they do indeed come from America, which is basically getting a club that has an easier access, let me suggest to you, than Leeds United to the Champions League. And of course, the other great attraction in the foreseeable future is if indeed that old European Super League were to raise its head, they'd want to be at the forefront of any discussions, and they'd want to have a club that could get them there, Alison.
Absolutely, I think Europe is a fantastic carrot for any team to have. I think ultimately Champions League is where teams want to be, but certainly any access into European leagues and being part of a conversation that looks at European restructures, and I think that's always an ongoing issue. We've seen this season what's happened in a new format of the Champions League. We've heard talks about European breakaways, like all of these discussions have taken place, and I think there's a reason why businessmen would like to be at the forefront of that kind of talk and be invested in clubs that are going to be competing on that level. That, I think, is still some way away just now, but certainly you can see why that would be, you know, a significant incentive.
We're going to talk more on the football show about that possible takeover, but let's switch our attention to that Europa League draw. And suddenly, Fenerbahce stand in the way of Rangers getting to the semi-final. Of course, it's Jose Mourinho. That will bring, of course, its own form of circus to town. It's a double header. Good draw, and of course the opportunity possibly of maybe even Manchester United in a semi-final. What an attraction that game is for Rangers.
Absolutely, and I think it helps, of course, that the first leg's away too, and then they come back to Ibrox. I think you're right. I think Jose Mourinho, I think there's a circus element wherever he goes. Philippe Clement was was very complimentary on him and what he's achieved in the game, as you would expect. However, he did say it was quite pointed actually. What he said was that he's a manager who has a style that it wouldn't really be my favourite. And when he was asked to expand on that, what he meant was, I prefer a much more attacking style of play. I prefer managers who set up to buy into a very attacking format. He also joked that Jose Mourinho would be great for us, great for you guys, so great for us in the media to enjoy. I'm sure we'll get a couple of good lines out of Jose over the next couple of weeks prior to that tie. But certainly, I think it's mouth-watering for Rangers that they've got themselves to this stage. They'll be assured of playing in front of a very passionate support when they go over to Turkey, and then they can bring that back to Ibrox. I think really it's the last real live game of their season, if you like. I think there'll be so much that they want to get out of it, and of course their European record across recent seasons is very impressive.
They're billing it, well, I'm suggesting, Alison, they're billing it as the special one against the under fire one. Is that fair comment?
I think it would be just now. I think some of the pressure has eased certainly around Philippe Clement on the back of that win at Tynecastle last weekend, and also just the fact that I think this investment story this week that broke has probably taken a bit of pressure off both the board and the manager across the last few days.
I am not going to ask you one more question because your movement there to save the camera was nothing short of magnificent. Considering your balance has been in question for the last couple of days, that was sensational, Ali. We will hear from you in the near future over the weekend as well. Absolutely superb there from Alison McConnell out there at the Rangers Training Centre. If you want to hear more on what's happening between Rangers and the possible takeover, and of course the thoughts of Philippe Clement on Fenerbahce in the Europa League, then join us. The football show starts at 4 o'clock. Alan Ruff and Tam McManus will be here with me on the couch, ready to talk not only all things Europe, but we'll look ahead to the weekend and the SPFL in the Scottish Premiership, all those fixtures over Saturday and Sunday. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, and you can download the app and get all the breaking news